Moin Moin, and welcome to Morning Call for Tuesday, the 12th of February 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg, where it's still sunny. Is it spring? Maybe. Before we get into the tech news, some coffee. Hope you have coffee. I need coffee this morning. I was up late last night working, and now I'm working again. So let's get into them tech news for you. Today, it's all about security. It's one of these days. Sometimes it's just, every story I came across was in some way a security story. So let's get into that. Let's make sure you have a secure day today. What do we have? The Register. The Register has published an exclusive story that there are 620 million accounts being sold on underground forums, and these were from websites such as Dubsmash, Armor Games, 500px, White Pages, etc., etc. So it looks like the Troy Hunt will have some more work ahead of him for Have I Been Pawned to get all this data into there. So yeah, these were being sold for less than $20,000 US dollars in Bitcoin. So the biggest leak here is Dubsmash. Then MyFitness with 162 million, MyFitnessPal 151 million, MyHeritage 92 million. So 500px has 15 million accounts. And the Register has gone and asked, they looked into this and they asked some of these sites, and it looks like this real 500px, for example, is notifying their users that the site was hacked. Yeah. And they will reset everyone's password, starting with the ones weekly hashed with MD5. Not really surprising, is it? These things seem to come out every other week now. Everybody gets hacked. We knew this, but now more and more like these data breaches just come out. And these, I mean, most likely, these hacks were ages ago. So most likely, these accounts were already like used for nefarious things. These passwords, usually selling them in bulk, is just the last thing people do. It's just like that. That's when the accounts are actually not worth much anymore. So yeah. Then there is this isn't so much a security story, but like this must have a security angle. I'm thinking. So Golem is reporting in Germany that there are Amazon sellers who are sending packages to people for free. Without a return address, and if these people then look into their Amazon accounts, they will see nothing. They haven't ordered anything. So this seems to be third-party Amazon Marketplace sellers, just for a reason nobody knows yet, sending these out to people, and people have been gotten suspicious. So it's been everything from smartphones to smartphone cases to cables like iPhone cables, mice traps, sex toys, anything really, surveillance cameras, and these people have basically talked. Some of these people are getting worried and talking to the the consumer watchdogs in Germany, and they say, well, you can keep it. Like, you can keep it, you can throw it away legally. You have nothing to worry about, but still a bit weird because nobody knows. Yeah, Crickle says, do people have to pay for this stuff? No, they don't have to pay for this stuff because they didn't order it. It clearly wasn't in their Amazon account. Like, it's not listed in their account as a sale. It's just being sent to them, and it's definitely weird because it doesn't have a return address, which it usually should have. Like, it should have any indication who's sending it to you. So Amazon is saying this must be some kind of fraud. They're investigating it, and they're definitely saying that the sellers are violating their rules. Yeah, it's really weird. You're right, Crickle. It is really weird. I don't. Nobody knows. There must be some kind of trick. Like, it must be some kind of reseller, something. They're trying to boost something. They need sales, or I don't know. So I'm thinking, if I would get a package like this, like, what would I do? Like, I'm not sure I'd probably try to resell the stuff, like, on eBay or something, because I'm not sure if somebody sends me a smartphone or like a camera for free. I'm not sure I want to plug that in. I'm not sure I want to use that, right? So that could be like Trojanized or something. Who knows? It is really interesting. I will try to have a look, like, and try to see if something more comes out, because I find this really fascinating. Um, yeah. So Amazon's saying to Golem apparently that they are investigating. So because basically the seller has violated Amazon's rules because there weren't any address or any sender name on there. Really weird. Less weird, not nice, but I guess unavoidable. The guys who the researchers who cracked. Oh, great! On the register, I'm getting somebody. Okay, somebody thinks I'm a Nazi or something. I'm getting ads for patriotic T-shirts now. Fuck's sake! Some ads. Some ad networks is thinking I'm a Nazi, I guess. Great. Let's reload this page. Maybe it'll go away. Ah, that's better. Continuous life cycle conference. I think Heise is involved with this. Anyway, that's better than the bloody patriotic T-shirts. So what was I saying? So the guys who did the Spectre Meltdown research, and also worked on Rowhammer. Let me just look up the names so I'm not saying this wrong. Michael Schwarz, Samuel Weiser, and Daniel Gruß is the team. They have looked into Intel's SGX, the software guard extensions, which is like a secure enclave on the processor that's supposed to, like, it's supposed to run crypto and stuff, like the DRM stuff that Hollywood uses, but also, like, for security applications. And it's supposed to be sandboxed, and so that other software on the computer can't, like, extract crypto keys from it or anything. And it was supposed to be really secure. It was one of the things Intel always said. And these researchers have found out that while it's hard to get in there, you can. And they used one of my favorite techniques, return-oriented programming, ROP, which basically ROP, you try to break a software system. You try to execute malware, not by introducing malware to it, like with a buffer overflow, writing it somewhere and then executing it. You're basically using whatever instructions, bits of programming the software has, and you're jumping around in those instructions you're trying to find a way to jump around and use bits of the code, of the legitimate code, to make malware, because every software is built out of like, the same building blocks, right? It's just basic instructions. Copy this, read this, do that, add those two numbers, stuff like that, and then they'll just rejigger that by jumping around in the code and build their own malware. And that's really cool, because I mean, one of the first things this was used for was hacking a voting machine that had a very, very small software set, where they were saying like, this only does what it's supposed to do, so you can't hack it. And some really clever people went like, well, we can use the software that you think only does what it's supposed to do and jump around in it and then break it anyway. And that's also how they hacked this SGX stuff. And basically what they're saying, this kind of, it's hard to do, but it's kind of handy, because if you get malware in there, because of the way it's isolated and the way it's supposed to be isolated from the other system, from the rest of the system, you can hide malware pretty well in there. So I mean, antivirus software and normal security software won't find it. The problem is that usually there are only very defined ways in and out of this enclave, and people have thought that you couldn't do much with malware, but with ROP you can kind of reuse stuff. You can also reuse stuff that's not in the enclave. You can kind of misuse, if you have software, let's say you have a DRM software, and the encryption stuff is stored in SGX. It's just the keys or something. You need software that interfaces with that. And once they get malware in there, they can kind of misuse the other stuff from the software that interfaces with it. It's really, really complicated, but pretty cool. And I love Intel's response to this. Typical Intel response. So the Register was reporting on this, and then Intel said, Intel is aware of this research, which is based upon assumptions that are outside the threat model for Intel SGX. The value of Intel SGX is to execute code in a protected enclave. However, Intel SGX does not guarantee that the code executed in the enclave is from a trusted source. In all cases, we recommend utilizing programs files app blah 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 from trusted sources. So what Intel is saying is basically, I mean, this is the typical response. It's outside the threat model, right? So they're saying it's all good. Like we never said this protected against this. We said this is kind of a secure thing, but we never. We never said it. This was. We never said we'd protect you from this. I'm just queuing up something because that's my response to that. It's fine. It's fine. It's you can hack it, but that's outside the threat model. I hate it when companies respond to something like that. I mean, they should really say, okay, yes, this is bad. It's not really what we are defending against. They could say that, but it's bad, and we'll look into fixing this. It's better than, oh no, hey, don't worry about that. It's just like, that can happen to every software. It's like, yeah, other software can be hacked too. Don't mind our hackable software. God. In other security news, a story that I found really interesting is, if you do anything with cryptocurrency, right, especially on a mobile phone, you will usually, like, if you wanna send money to something, you want to send Bitcoin to an address or tokens or whatever. It doesn't have to be currency, but generally like blockchain based stuff. You will always, at some point, you'll need an address, for either for a smart contract or like to send money to. And they're really long and complicated. So the only feasible way to like get them, read them out somewhere, and then put them somewhere is copy and paste. Now, some researchers from EZ and Heise is reporting about this, have found an app that basically pretends to be something else. It pretends to be MetaMask, which I guess is an app you would use. If you'd use what's the thing called, dApps. So like if you do blockchain stuff, you might use this app. Anyway, so it isn't really the app it's supposed to be. What it really does is, in the background, it monitors your system for the moment when you would copy a blockchain address into your clipboard, and then it exchanges it for another one. 709 says, "Hey, it's the Fab Industry logo, dude. It's a it's a fox. it's a polygon fox. Maybe they're friends. Maybe like me, they're friends of Star Fox 64 as well. Anyway, so it'll just see, oh, the user has just copied a Bitcoin address into the clipboard. I guess he wants to transfer money to that. Let's quickly exchange that Bitcoin address for our address. And you won't notice. You'll just paste it in. You probably won't notice that. And then you, instead of sending money to the person you wanted to send to, you send it to these guys behind the scenes. That's how freelancing works. So now I guess the Discord chat has now started the rumor that I created this app to steal Bitcoin addresses. But just getting Bitcoin is too much hassle, and also my track record with Bitcoin, I tend to sell stuff at the wrong moment, No, I'm leaving it my hands off that. But I thought that was kind of a cool thing. In less cool and more donations in air quotes. In less cool and more obvious security news, there is now somebody has reported a security vulnerability in Docker. To be honest, now this is some guy at SUSE has made this public. So it's a vulnerability in runC, which is like the runtime for Docker. And basically what it allows you to do is, if you have access to a Docker container, because of this bug, from inside the Docker container, you can switch runC out for your own version, which, let's say, includes malware, right? And excuse me, my voice is still, I don't know, this is still from yesterday. I don't know what's going on. I can't talk anymore. Need more coffee. So it's a default runtime for Docker, Containerd. I love Containerd, by the way. It's Containered for Containered. Hey, I'm Containered. I'm a nerd for containers. Podman and CRI-O. I've never heard of whatever that is. So you have access to a Docker container, right? You may broke into that over the internet or something, and then you can use this to change the runtime, which then gets your malware in that runtime executed with root privileges. So you can use this to break out of Docker containers and own the system. The guys who discovered this, Adam Ivaniuk and Boris Poplarski, said the vulnerability allows a malicious container to, with minimal user interaction, override the host runC binary and thus gain root level code execution on the host. And they were saying this is basically it's a bit of an Armageddon, because it's really bad. Because I'll quote them. They say, well, there are very few incidents that could qualify as a doomsday scenario for enterprise IT, a cascading set of exploits affecting a wide range of interconnected production system qualifies. And that's exactly what this vulnerability represents. So basically, because everybody uses everything on Docker now, you can pretty much own the whole deployment of somebody with that. It's pretty bad. There is a fixed version. So fix your Docker, people. This isn't good. More slightly more hilarious security news. Golem reporting that there's a lot of cooling systems. There's a security company called Safety Detective. I love that name. They looked at IoT stuff and they found like these cooling systems. Like these are from a US company called Resource Data Management. They are industrial fridges, basically, in labs, in hospitals, stuff like that. Probably a lot in the UK where they keep all the medicines they bought from us to get them through Brexit or whatever. And these have their IoT devices. They have a default password 1234. You should probably change that. And now, of course, they're connected to the internet. They have a web interface. You get in with this password, and you can just heat up whatever is stored in there, or make it cooler, or whatever. Turn them off. Fix your fridges, people. So this is the Safety Detective security company, and they have a screenshot from Shodan. There's 7,400 of those things they found all over the world. A lot of them in Russia, apparently, and a lot in the UK by the looks of it. It is those Brexit preparations, I'm guessing. Sorry, Slippers. Keep mentioning Brexit. Slippers is at home going, at work going, oh, no, we're gonna die. The internet of shit. That is correct, Crickle. All I'm gonna say is, this is fine. It's fine. We're not gonna die. Last story, before I let you go, is a bit of a security story as well. Although I find it quite hilarious. So Apple Insider is reporting that in the US, Apple's being sued because of two-factor authentication on iPhone and Macs. This is a class action lawsuit in the US, always fun. And a guy called Jay Brodsky in California has started this, and he's basically saying, so if you opt into two-factor authentication on the Mac after, or on an iPhone, on an iPad, after 14 days, you can't turn it off anymore. And it's a security constraint. This is so that once you turn that on, people can't social engineer some poor customer support guy at Apple to turn it off. Apparently in that big German hack, that's how this hacker got access to a Gmail account. He just roped a customer service guy at Google into turning two-factor authentication off. So Apple has this thing where once you turn it on, after a while, if sent you an email, and after 14 days you can't turn it off again. And this guy is now suing Apple because of that, because he's saying, well, they didn't tell me they didn't tell me clearly enough, and now I can't turn it off again, and it takes so much time, between 2 and 5 minutes. I don't know what. I mean, I use two-factor authentications on my on my devices here. I do. I use that, and it doesn't take 2 minutes for me. Apple Insider looked. They said 22 seconds is their median thing, and it's 20 seconds, maybe 30. Yes, two-factor authentication is a bit of pain in the ass. But basically, all security measures, right? You trade convenience for security. And I mean, this guy turned it on. It's not like Apple don't tell you about that. I do agree that Apple could be a bit more clear that you can't turn it off anymore. But I mean, that itself is a very, very sensible thing to do. That is, if you could. The biggest problem with two-factor authentication is if you can just turn it off. If you can get somebody to turn it off. If you attack an account and then you do social engineering or whatever, and you just turn it off. I mean, I can remember I wrote a story when I was very, very new for Heise Security. Back in the day, you had like these PayPal dongles. The PayPal was really one of the first companies to have like, mass market end user two-factor authentication, like with these little football devices, right? And you could just turn it off. Like you could basically, you said, oh, I don't have the dongle anymore, let me enter the password, and you could turn it off. It was like the most ridiculous thing ever. So 7 of 9 says, what's the problem with turning it off after having passed it? Yeah, that is, you can do that. The problem is, I think more is if you can turn it off at all, then like you would have to have like you have to secure it at the back end. The problem is somebody trying to rope somebody from the company into turning it off. And I think what Apple has just done is like once you turn it on for this device, you cannot turn it off again. I think you can reset the device. Like if you completely factory wipe the device, then it's of course off. But it's like a hard switch. It's like once like this device has it set. Yeah, 7 of 9 says customer service should not be able to turn it off by phone request. Yes, you are right. But I mean, you work in a company, right? It's like saying they shouldn't be able to do that, and then actually making it that they can't are two very, very different things. So I'm on Apple's side with this. I think maybe they should just communicate it a bit more clearly. I think the fact that you can't turn it off is actually handy. I like it. I like to know that nobody can turn it off on this device anymore. I think this lawsuit is ridiculous. I think these people should all go and have a lie down and think about what they're doing. 9, you cannot turn the two-factor back off. Set condition 9 throughout the ship. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll try to bring you some non-security news tomorrow. It was just like, that was just what it was today. I hope you got something useful out of the show. I would at this point like to thank my 11 subscribers on Twitch, because I'm a freelancer now and I have to scrounge to make money, and because I don't want to install like cryptocurrency slurping malware on people's phones. You 11 people, you are single-handedly keeping me from doing that by supporting this channel. Also, everybody who tips and cheers. Mega Slippers is still up there with his ironic cheer. Yeah, thanks to all of you. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow with some more tech news. Until then, play it safe, patch your Docker, and just remember, it's all going to be fine. Goodbye.